Now we call the meeting to order. A moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino is absent. Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Here.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present.
Councilman Tucson.
Present.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally.
Here.
All right. To begin with, we have a presentation from our own state rep, Pies. So please.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to give a legislative update here. So I'll try to keep it brief, so I'll talk fast. I'm glad to report that my advocacy for the Harper Woods Pocket Park has resulted in a $200,000 grant from the state budget for 2024. I'll be following up with ACM Szymanski on the details of that and the procedures and how we'll go about that. I'm also glad to report that the House passed my bill, HB 4033, regarding partial municipal reimbursements to cities when special elections are called by the state. That would be if you didn't have a senator or your state rep anymore, so I'm hoping we don't have to use that. The bills I'm working on right now, several are ones that I picked up from previous legislators who weren't reelected, and this is from their last term. So one of them is regarding retired police canines get a one-time reimbursement for veterinary care. There's two bills regarding animal research facilities, and I'm working with the State Humane Society on that. Also, I submitted a bill regarding cautionary labeling for recreational marijuana, so it's something like what you would see in your prescription bottle, just don't mix it with this, yada yada. I'm also working with a couple of other, well, I have a bill working in conjunction with a couple of other colleagues regarding criminal sentencing reform, and I'm part of a two-bill package about licensing of clinical art therapists right now. I'm also working on bills regarding home foreclosures and affordable housing, fair employment practices, agricultural pollution, and library book bans. I and another colleague are working on separate bills for that. Plus, I'm working with several constituents actually on business legislation. Overall, statewide bills which are now public acts include repealing the retirement tax beginning in 2024. That will start off with our first responders that first year. And then it will be over the course of 4 years. Nobody's pensions should be taxed anymore. I've also, well, the other bills are gun safety and storage, tax cuts for seniors and working families, Michigan National Guard tuition assistance for spouses and dependents, law enforcement recruiting and training, hands-free driving, which you've all seen in effect now, and Juneteenth is now a recognized statewide holiday. I've co-sponsored bills which address hate crimes, economic development, teacher shortages and retentions, banning child marriage for under 18 years of age. Right now it's thousands every year under that age. It's amazing. Municipal emergency services, co-pays for prescription insulin, property tax credits for disabled veterans and their spouses, environmental protections regarding wastewater treatment systems, foster care, and health occupations. Other legislation that I've co-sponsored includes hate crime laws, behavioral and mental health care, labor, education, elections, criminal procedures, weapons, and much more. For the, one of the committees that the House has is for health policy. For the first time ever, we now have a behavioral health subcommittee, so we'll be addressing mental health concerns through there. I'm currently working, well, I said this about the, my constituents. Other funding, budget funding includes the $160 million for free student breakfast and lunches, over $10 million for Selfridge Air National Guard Base, direct care workers and wage increases, renewable energy and electrification infrastructure, local roads and highway maintenance, law enforcement training, lead service line replacement, technical and vocational training, environment and climate funding, equitable investments for special education and at-risk students, and community development. In June, I presented Mr. and Mrs. Mosley of Harper Woods a tribute for their 75th wedding anniversary. It was fantastic. All the residents and constituents are welcome to submit requests for tributes. You can go to my state website, which is house.mi.gov. Once you're there, you'll be able to look up my name and then get to my page, and you can sign up for my newsletter then, ask for tributes. Also, just in closing, I sit on 4 committees: the local government and finance, the higher education, and this is a long one, natural resources, environment, tourism, and outdoor recreation, and I'm vice chair of the agricultural committee. The caucuses I serve on include the Detroit Caucus, the Poverty and Homelessness Caucus, and the Women's Caucus. Because I've been working with some of other constituents, not in Harper Woods, about some business legislation, I just want to reiterate that I'm welcome to talking with anybody about even an idea that they have. I've always said, over the course of my life, I said, there ought to be a law about that, you know? And I didn't know who to talk to, so now people know who to talk to, and they can come and talk to me about the process of it, if it already exists and we just don't realize it, or how to go forward with it. So, and just as one more closing, I have constituent meetings here, coffee hours, if you will, at the library on the first Monday of every month right before the council meeting. So, thank you.
Is anyone on council?
Sorry, any questions?
Any question? No?
Thank you.
I guess you're free. All right, thank you very much, Representative Pies. I need an approval of the minutes. I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, we need to excuse. Sure, can I get a motion to excuse?
I'll offer motion to excuse Ms. Constantino due to certain
Conflict.
circumstances.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now, I need a motion to approve the minutes. Not at one time, everybody.
I move that we approve. Go ahead. So you
No, I wasn't here, so.
I'll make the
I
motion.
wasn't here either.
I'll make the
Okay,
motion
go
to
ahead.
approve the regular city council meeting held on July 10th, 2023, the board of review meeting held on July 18th, 2023, and the planning commission meeting held on July 26th, 2023.
Support.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we go to item D, public comments on agenda items only. You have one time to speak on agenda items, not anything else. All right?
Make them introduce themselves and where they live.
You need to introduce yourself and you have only 3 minutes.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is James Melnick. I am the president of IFF Local 1188, a lieutenant with Harper Woods Fire, and 9-year employee with the City of Harper Woods. speaking in regard to the intended exploration of a merger with Detroit Fire Department. This past Friday, the union was notified by Director Hammerly that he and Acting City Manager Szymanski have been meeting with Detroit Fire Commissioner Sims and Mayor Duggan regarding a merger with Detroit Fire Department. All of these meetings happening over the past month or longer. All of these meetings taking place behind the back of the union and council. But here we are with an agenda item requesting permission to explore potentials to improve the fire service. These meetings by two city officials, neither of which are qualified to be a fire chief. An agenda item that has written in its own description to have a press release attached later this week. A press release that was confirmed this weekend by union officials and the Detroit Firefighters Association, who are directly tied to Mayor Duggan. That does not sound like a request to explore options, more like a
or is this, am I on record, for our comments?
It's being taped.
So, okay.
You listen.
What's that? So, anyways, so I really hope you guys take this ordinance and say, not in Harper Woods. We don't need it. We have the big facility that's overtaking the old Eastland Mall. I just don't see any benefit for Harper Woods having these retail outlets. And going back to what some of the other people have said, I don't know much about that, but I'm really worried about the volume of traffic. And I found out there's one on Beaufait, which is only 6 blocks down. It's like Harper Avenue is going to be just every 50 feet there's going to be a dispensary. So I hope you guys really take this seriously and say, not in the city.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else who wants to speak on the agenda?
Hi there, my name is Lori Sheridan and I too live on Country Club. I have lived in Harper Woods for over 40 years. I remain here because I like the city, I like the neighborhood, and I want to stay here. But I feel that the impact of having a dispensary at the end of my block, which is only 5 houses down, is going to make a big difference in traffic on Harper. We have a lot of bike riders that bike ride up and down, children, adults. We have a lot of foot traffic on the service drive. And it says right here that it's about the impact that it will be on the area. This is residential, and I don't know that this is where we want to go. It also says that the surrounding land, support this, not in a residential area. And that's really my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Denise, and I'm on Lockmore, right on the alley behind Speedy Printing, which is directly next to Dr. Sahim's office, which is a proposed site for the retail marijuana store. Before I moved in 6.5 years ago, or when I moved in 6.5 years ago, Kevin had a hauling business where he would have a big or a hauling trailer with cars on it. So there was a lot of traffic from that, and that was my experience when I first moved in. And there was a vacuum cleaner sales person in the building attached to him, and I witnessed arguments, fights. 2 people came into my yard that weren't invited from that business. I called the police several different times. So if this type of store does go into the doctor's office, I can see how that would happen more with more foot traffic, like they're all talking about. I'm not going to repeat what they all said. So I don't think it's a good, healthy atmosphere for all the kids walking down the alley, the bikers and the people with their dogs and their animals and that. And I also want to comment on payment to Dominion Voting Systems. Why are we doing payment to Dominion Voting Systems? That's on your consent agenda. That's a big question. Why are we making payment to Dominion Voting Systems? We all know what happened and what can happen in internet hookups with voting systems, especially Dominion. We all know their history now of what they've done in the past. So if you want to go down as record as to be a part of that, we all know who you are, and we all know that that's not a good idea for our country and our state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Copeland, and I live on Lockmore. I've been there 57 years. On the particular ordinance we've all been talking about, my only concern is that you're going to eliminate the distance between the retail shops. That means we're going to have more shops. I think the parking will be astronomically impossible. I mean, I guess if 2 shops want to be next door to each other, that's up to them, but parking is already limited in Harper Woods. How are we going to handle parking if there isn't any distance requirement between each retail store? That's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Kuhlman. I'm a 46-year resident of Harper Woods. I live at 20847 Lockmore, which is the 3rd house from the alley. I'm going to be very involved with this marijuana dispensary. I have to say over and over again the things that everybody else is saying. There are children all the time, not only on the Harper Service Drive, but also on the alley, biking, rollerblading, just running around, using it as a shortcut. The parking lot for this business is in the back. And there's already people come through the bridge and they cut through the alley to go on to the next street. So we have a lot of traffic as it is there. I can only see with people trying to park behind this business and also parking on Harper. This happens to be right where the bridge street is to Harper. And through the 46 years I've lived here, I've witnessed many car accidents, with that bridge and people not paying attention. So can you imagine with people parking on the street, what an additional problem this could cause? We also already have a parking problem, which we've kind of resolved working with Leslie Frank and also working with that American business where they were parking on our street and causing traffic, and they still do. And then you get some of them like to park on the other side of the street because there's a tree there and they want to park in the shade, and nobody's ever done anything about it. They're parking illegally. We have the lawn businesses parking. Then we have, a bus or truck trying to go through on the street. We already have a major traffic problem there. The business is also, it's going to give an odor. I still work, I drive down 8 Mile Road, I'm going through all these dispensaries and I'm smelling it. and they're quite a distance from it. So you can't tell me that they can get rid of this odor. I find it personally very offensive. It gives me a headache and I have to close the windows, etc. The final thing I have to say is that most of these dispensaries I have found are in less than desirable neighborhoods that are going downhill. And is this the image that we truly want for Harper Woods? Is this what we want to build on? I would suggest that not only do we have this dispensary, that we also put a law and ordinance in effect that bans them, like Grosse Pointe Woods does and many other cities in the metropolitan Detroit area have done. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Arlene Jolly, and I've been a resident of Harper Woods for 6 years. I live on Anita Street, and I actually received 2 notices about the ordinance because there are two buildings on the end of my street that are literally feet, like less than 10 feet apart. I tried to have an open mind about this ordinance because I realize I do not have all the details, but listening to the other citizens of Harper Woods, it is not something that I would desire that you do. We have new families moving on the street. We have new young children. The buildings are just across a small alley from the residential properties. I would ask that if this is something that the council feels that they need to do, that certainly do not approve 8 marijuana facilities. We do not want to be New Jack City of the marijuana trade. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jacqueline. I live on the corner of Dupre and Buffet. I came here today originally once I saw the appalling marks about my fire department. I pay enough taxes. I shouldn't have to be scared of minimizing or merging my fire departments. I'm absolutely appalled at the sellout that I see what's going on. Grosse Pointe's had a Dominion. Second of all, I'd like to thank the audience. I will support you on your marijuana pact. Please support me and my neighbors on the height restriction needed for the new zoning coming up in the meeting on the 25th.
You have to speak to the council, ma'am.
Thank you very much, council, for letting me see your true colors. Now the Dominion voting machines, why are we paying this? And I wasn't going to say anything. You know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for my freedom and my children's freedom, and I see what's happening with our new product laws. They are certainly not for we the people at all. Grosse Pointe paid $5,000 also. You guys are paying $5,000. On jellyfish.news, you can find that the investigation about these modem voting machines are still in the works. And thoroughly, I read today the report of Michigan State Police on January 20th of 2020. So I'm doing my research, and I'm really getting sick and tired of waking up crying because my country doesn't look the same.
Hi, Vivian. I'm Jeff Kirkman. I live on Country Club. My family has been there for 54 years. I read through the amendment or the ordinance here, and it kind of disturbs me with the fact that there are no restrictions on the number of facilities in the state, in the city of Harper Woods. We are 2.6 square miles. 8 facilities puts it way over the agenda. If you look at the list that's going to go in front of the Planning Commission next week, you will have, like the lady said, one on Anita, one on Hawthorne, one on Hollywood, all on Harper. That's block after block after block. It makes no sense to have this many in our small city. I personally would prefer to have none, okay? But I also find it pretty ironic that none of you on the board, the mayor, or on the cannabis subcommittee are within any walking distance of any of the C1 and C2 commercial properties here in Harper Woods. You don't have to see these people walking in front of your houses. We will have to. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Corinne Martin, and I am the Executive Director of Grosse Pointe Animal Adoption Society. My husband is a medical marijuana patient, and he has been for several years, so I'm very accustomed to sitting in the parking lot and watching as he goes in to get his products. Most recently, the Cloud on Mack and near Grosse Pointe Park. They are very, very busy businesses. My concern for Grosse Pointe Animal Adoption Society is that our back door comes out onto the alley behind Harper, between Buffet and Lennon. When there is a traffic stop or any traffic impairment on Harper, many times people cut back through the alley. It's so bad that we have cones in back of our building, and we put the cones out to keep people from speeding through the alley. We do walk dogs 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We try and be cognizant of our neighbors. They are wonderful on Buffet, Lennon, Anita, all those streets, and they put up with us walking these dogs 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We try and go through the alley, and we go down 6 or 8 blocks so that we're not always going down the same streets. With a medical marijuana facility that will exit into the alley, and people will be going down the alley, that will prohibit us from walking dogs through the alley. I just don't know where we would go. So we're already an existing business since 2018. We've been trying to be very neighborly and cognizant of our neighbors, and I think that having a facility that impedes on our area at Lennon and Buffet and Harper would be a hardship on the animal shelter. And we serve the community, and particularly Harper Woods, so I want you to know that in advance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So now we'll move on to the consent agenda. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll approve consent agenda items 1 through 11.
Support.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I do want to mention, there has been a couple of people talking about Dominion voting, and I know that we use their facility in our community, but I want to point out the fact that Dominion Voting Systems was found to have no problem, that there were lawsuits against the people that brought that up. Dominion won those lawsuits because they're not a problem, and we are not hooked up to the internet, as far as I know, to report our voting. And so it's a matter of providing the best voting system for the community, and none of the votes that are cast in Harper Woods are at risk. And so I just wanted to point that out to the residents who may be concerned with the words Dominion Voting System.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
All right, that takes us to old business, and since we have none, we'll go to new business and city manager report.
Mayor and Council, item G1, public hearing, zoning ordinance amendment. Mayor and Council, a public hearing has been scheduled for tonight to hear public input and comment on the potential elimination of the marijuana establishments buffer under Section C of the recently adopted amendment to the zoning ordinance. Based upon discussions within the advisory committee and council, it appears the city's intent has consistently been to permit retail adult recreational marijuana establishments be limited to the street's frontage of Harper and Kelly. Further, the intent was to permit the free market economy and business decisions of those establishments to determine placements within these confines. Consistent with this intent, a small modification is necessary to the zoning ordinance. All other rules, regulations, and requirements remain the same. For this portion of the agenda, only the standard motions of opening and closing the public hearing will be required. Mayor, a motion to open and then close the public hearing is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to open the public hearing on the amendment to the zoning ordinance concerning the buffer between marijuana facilities.
Support. Okay, support. Any discussion? Oh, well, it's open.
Anyone who wants to speak about
Well, that haven't already spoken. You're welcome to come to the mic.
marijuana, about the buffer between marijuana facilities.
What is the buffer?
The buffer, Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Currently, the way that it's passed is that there has to be 1,500 feet between one facility and another. And our facility, any marijuana facility has to remain in zoning section C1 or C2. So that kind of restricts how many facilities can go into the city. And so what the proposal is to get rid of the buffer and let the market determine how many facilities can be in that limited section of Harper Woods. So C1 and C2 special business zoning district is the only areas of Harper Woods where they're permitted. On Harper and Kelly in that limited space.
Okay, my name's Tony Wagner on Washtenaw. Actually, you might have just answered my item because I just scanned the agenda real quickly this evening. If I understand correctly, there will not be the 1,500-foot space separation. It'll be whatever the market can support. It might be one store, it might be 8, it might be 88, whatever the shakeout is. Do I interpret that correctly?
That's correct, but there are other restrictions.
I know about the so far from the schools and the nursery,
Right.
the daycares.
And the number of parking spaces and that kind of stuff.
Because realistically, and I followed the market in some other cities, there's a shakeout going on right now. Market forces can be very powerful forces. I can speak to Hamtramck where the 4 dispensaries are now down to 3 because the market just cannot support an unlimited number of establishments. It's no different than fast food restaurants, drugstores, clothing stores, dry cleaners. Ultimately, the market dictates how many stores you'll have. Harper Woods, 15,000, 16,000 people, 8 stores is not going to happen. There's just not a big enough market to support it, even if you have people trickling over from Grosse Pointe or East Point or wherever. Also, the point was brought up about what's in it for Harper Woods. Just to play devil's advocate, the state of Michigan gives every city that participates with the cannabis sales a cut of what the state takes in. The more cities that have marijuana, the less there is per city. The fewer cities that participate, the more money there is when they divide up the pie. If I remember right, I think the city of Hamtramck gets $200,000 a year from 4 stores. I could be off on that number. And it's the same for Hazel Park, you know, Royal Oak. Any city that permits the marijuana gets a cut of Lansing's take. It's not going to balance the city's budget. It might be enough to hire 1 or 2 uniform workers. I'll just leave it at that. Not to dismiss the concerns of people that, you know, worry about traffic coming off the alley, but yes, there is something in it for Harper Woods. Harper Woods will get a share of the proceeds from Lansing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Janet Hummel. I've lived here
30-plus years on Lockmore, 2 houses from the alley. 2. You want to switch places with me? Do you want to worry about your kids, about your grandchildren? Is Harper Woods not a family community? And why is 8 Mile not part of your place to designate a store? Why Harper? Why Kelly? You just need to ask yourself if you are really representing your true values. What do you want in your city? What do you want? What's your dream? A good family environment to raise kids, to have a nice neighborhood. It's been that way. Why are you doing that? Money? Are you really going to get that much money? To the detriment of Harper Woods and its citizens? And potentially make people who, like me, might leave because it's so upsetting.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this town hall meeting? All right. Anyway, is there anyone else that would like to speak? If not, I will entertain a motion to close.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
I did have a question. If we eliminate this buffer, that really means that we could have, there could be potentially 2 stores sitting right next to each other, correct? I mean, just potentially.
No.
Well, if they have a parking.
They have to meet all the other criteria.
Right.
Yeah,
There's no
that's,
way.
but like Mr. Wagner said, for us to interfere, it would breed lawsuits here. The market forces are the best way of handling it.
I really want to speak on the fact.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't have it in front of me.
It's really hard to hear you. Are the microphones? I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear
It's really
you.
hard to hear all of you.
Okay, can you hear us better now?
No.
No?
Can the city manager repeat his last comment? I didn't hear.
Okay, we'll try. But, yeah. Can you hear it?
I just turned all the microphones up, so if everybody wants to test it, speak into your microphone.
Test.
Hello? Can you hear us better now?
Yeah, you speak right into it close, it's better.
We're just trying to eliminate the feedback that we
Right.
get as well.
Yeah, that's
start to ring now.
Yep.
We're gonna get feedback.
okay. So can you hear me now? No? You can't hear me? You can hear me better now? Do I need to, you hear me now? You can really hear me now? Alrighty then, well, I will come up very close to this mic so that you can understand me. But I want to say something while we have this open time. A few years ago, we were petitioned by someone that wanted to bring marijuana to this city. They got 3,000 plus signatures to put it on the ballot to make them be in control of what they want to bring to Harper Woods. As long as I've been here, even when I was on the planning commission and marijuana first came out, John Benier and I both agreed at that time that we would opt out from the marijuana, period. But when you get people that take it upon themselves to sue your city and to make sure that they have a voice in what happens with marijuana in your city, They don't even live here. But they decided they wanted to have and sell marijuana here in Harper Woods. So we had no choice but to decide that we wanted to control the narrative of marijuana if it was going to be in our city. Residents in Harper Woods signed petitions. These people went door to door. They signed petitions to say they wanted marijuana here in Harper Woods. So when we were faced with that problem and that dilemma, City Council decided that we would take the option to allow marijuana, but with our controls. So that's why we're here at this juncture today. No, I never wanted to have marijuana to be sold in Harper Woods. Harper Woods to me is a bed and, what do we call it? Bed and bedroom kind of city. But when someone else or outside force wants to bring something to your city, you have to do it to protect yourself. And that is what we did a few years ago, was to protect so that we would have a right to say what comes and what goes and how it goes here in Harper Woods. So no, people sue you to do their biddings, and that was what we were faced with. This floor is still, we have not closed it.
How you doing? Juan Ruiz, Hunt Club. As a person who worked in education when I first came to Harper Woods, and now as a resident, the reason I brought my family here is because of the community atmosphere. A person who walks the street every morning at 4 or 5 in the morning, keep the zoning in place to buffer. I understand people have the you want to stay modern because you want to have maybe 1 or 2. That's the perception that many of us may have thought, but 8 is too much. 1 or 2, possibly. But we have to own our city, keep the buffer in place. That's where I stand, and I stand on the person of speaks on many. So yeah, keep the buffer in place. I understand they're being forced, but we also can push back. So please understand that the majority want the buffer. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
This is your opportunity to give us your insight. Let us know how you feel about this.
Hi, I'm Terry Zolak. I live between Washtenaw and Kenosha. With the marijuana thing, you guys gotta think about territorial. We already had 1 murder in Harper Woods. How many more people are gonna get murdered over territorial? And we have children in our neighborhood. What are you setting an example for our children instead of education that drugs are okay? That we want our children to succeed, not down low and become statistic in society. Think about our children. Don't think about the business and the money that can come to Harper Woods. Our children is our future. Our children is Harper Woods. I went to all Harper Woods schools from Beacon all the way to Harper Woods. I graduated in 1997. I seen the old school get torn down and the new one built. And I raised my son here. So if you guys are gonna force me to remove myself and my son that I've been here for 40 years and he's 12, I will leave. And I will take my mother with me.
Excuse me, if you're not at the mic, please.
Mark Modlin, Harper Woods for 13 years. The crime that's associated with the pot places, with the cannabis places on 8 Mile, you'll see that it's kind of cutthroat with them, and the crime follows this business, and that's why there's requirements for crime prevention in the stipulations, in the requirements. So we may get some money, as the other gentleman said, for having a marijuana business, but we're going to spend it on police. We're going to lose our property values associated with the increase in potential crime. And as the other young lady, she said that we may vote with our feet. And that's also going to hurt our property values. So if people don't want to live here.
Is there anyone else that hasn't spoken before? Ma'am?
Denise over on Lockmore, and I have a question. You guys said something about people came to you and you were given no choice about if you didn't approve this marijuana a few years ago that you were getting sued. Who were those people? And who are they to you? And how do they have control over you and your decisions in your city versus us, the residents? So who are those people who came to you a few years ago and you decided to go forward with that? Anybody?
Yes.
Sharon, our city attorney will speak. Sharon, could you bring the mic to your...
I certainly can, and I can speak pretty loud when necessary. I will tell you that the marijuana laws of this state with regard to adult recreational facilities gave us no choice. There's one of two ways that the adult recreational marijuana becomes a part of your community. Communities can opt out, but a petition can be circulated to get that on the ballot. We faced that challenge, and it almost happened. My law firm, along with Leslie Frank, fought tooth and nail and got to the circuit court. Thankfully, Judge Kenny, who knows election law quite well, heard our case and dismissed their ballot because it was so poorly drafted, which is not to say they couldn't bring a new one. What their name is offhand, I don't recall. But another petition can be brought, and they were intending on bringing another petition. In the meantime, the city took a preemptive strike and decided to initiate their own adult marijuana facility law, so that, as the mayor indicated, we can control the narrative to a certain degree. The state has rules and regulations, and through LARA, they are extensive. I invite you to go read them if you want. A lot of these things that have been brought up are governed by the state and not within the control of the city. But quite frankly, when it comes to things of security and the types of facilities you have to have, that's governed by the state. Those are rules and regulations through the state, and we can't get involved in those. But the city had no choice. They had to take a preemptive strike. Otherwise, a ballot would have made it onto the next election, and quite frankly, giving the voting statistics that I have seen, would have passed. And then somebody else would have controlled the narrative, where here, at least we are controlling the narrative as to only retail facilities and only on Harper and Kelly. Otherwise, the ballot that I saw, I'm going to just
No, sorry.
Okay. Wait a minute. Sorry. I can talk for hours. I'm a lawyer.
Sorry.
Otherwise, based upon the ballot language that I saw, we would not only have retailers, we would have processing, growers, and all kinds of other dispensaries within the city without regard to zoning as well.
Okay.
So what the city did was take that preemptive strike and take it out of the control of those who would try to push through a ballot initiative to get marijuana into the city with their rules and regulations instead of ours.
Why can't Harper Woods get an ordinance that
I'm not answering questions from the audience.
So,
the mayor
so
recognizes
basically,
it.
you guys are sort of in control, or you are in control.
We are in control insofar as we can be by the state. We cannot over-regulate because that's preempted by the state of Michigan.
So I thought the people of the state and of the country, from the bottom up, are in control of the government, but not anymore.
Talk to your people
Right.
in Lansing,
So
not us. We didn't write the law.
You've heard us here today speak of what we care about and what we want for our community. So it's on your shoulders to do what we want you to do, to protect us and to keep our neighborhood safe. Not what's in it for anybody, whatever it is, you heard us loud and clear. We do not want this in our city. Okay, for many, many reasons. And if you have a future with your children and your grandchildren, you don't want them to be addicted to anything. You know, alcohol is legal, but it's not healthy. THC is legal, but it's not healthy. So you have to think about what you want for your family, but you've heard us tonight, what we want. So hopefully you'll do the right thing.
How you guys doing? My name is Richard Youssef. I am a property owner. We own multiple commercial buildings up and down Kelly and Harper. I just want to say, in the last 2 months, I have many vacant buildings. In the last 2 months, the amount of calls we've been getting, and these buildings can't do anything. I know you guys, if you live here, I understand, but what would you rather see, an occupied building or a vacant building that has broken liquor bottles on the floor? Like, I get tickets from the city because it's a vacant property for broken glass from the liquor stores, from garbage in the alleys, in the parking lot. So when there's someone there, I know it might not be the best, but when there's someone there, they're taking care of their property. And I don't know how many locations you've been to. I'm not in the business, but they maintain their properties better than any business I've ever seen. So that's just one thing I want to say, and thank you guys.
I know I was up once, but I just have a question. I'm so sorry if you'll indulge me. Who decided on Harper and Kelly and why?
All the streets were looked at, and again, I want to say on Vernier has schools there, Vernier has churches, so it was not feasible. Harper and Kelly were the only two boulevards or streets for commercial where retail establishments could possibly be.
8 Mile wasn't an option?
Correct.
So we're just lucky.
All right. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G2, adopt amendment zoning ordinance. Mayor and council, with the public hearing now having been held, we can proceed to adopt the amendment. It is my recommendation that the section of the zoning ordinance regarding locations of marijuana retail locations reflects the elimination of this buffer. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Who wants to offer the resolution?
I'm trying to find it right here. Madam Mayor. Okay, Madam Mayor. By resolution to amend the zoning ordinance 10-264 locations, eliminating the marijuana establishment buffer, and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this in accordance with the city charter requirements.
Any support? No support? That means the motion fails.
It still has to be voted on. You're just putting it on the table to be voted. But if nobody wants to vote on it, then it fails.
Alrighty then. Since we have no voting, no support on this item, we cannot take it to a vote. Right?
May I clarify for the other? You don't want me to tell them again? Okay.
Okay, item G3, exploration of merger, Detroit Fire Department, Mayor and Council. The city is in the process of reevaluating and improving first responder services for our residents and businesses. As a first step, a complete professional analysis has been conducted by Winborn and Associates of our fire department services regarding operational, personnel, facilities, equipment costs for now and in the future. The recommendations within the Winborn report will serve as a starting point when discussing such a possible merger. At this time, there has been no agreement and no discussion of finances. I am asking City Council for the ability, on behalf of our city team, to explore the possibility of a merger with the City of Detroit for fire services. I believe the City of Detroit is going through a similar process with its City Council and will be releasing a press release sometime this month announcing this merger exploration. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Okay. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
You go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I want to offer an alternate resolution. My offer would be to require the acting city manager to engage in discussions with the following communities to explore the possibility of merging fire services or creating a fire authority. I don't want to just hear about the possibility of Detroit. I also want to hear about the city of St. Clair Shores, the cities of Grosse Pointe, Woods and Shores, the city of East Point, and the city of Detroit. I'd like council to receive a full account of the potential for merging or creating a fire authority with these neighboring communities of ours. I don't want us to be limited to only Detroit. That's my offer of a resolution.
Support.
But you just can't change it, just like.
This is the resolution.
What do you say?
I'll have to make sure I get it. Yeah.
All right. Hmm?
Let's go.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. All right. So we taken Vivian's resolution to explore not only with Detroit, but we also will explore with, so you
St.
have to
Clair
make a
Shores.
motion.
St. Clair Shores, Grosse Pointe, Woods and Shores, East Point, and Detroit.
But we, okay.
I think all of our communities pay a lot when it comes to our city services.
Okay.
I know that, oh.
All right, just do your motion and do your discussion. Yeah,
Sorry.
so now you made your motion, it's just, and supported by Councilwoman Williams. Okay, so there's any further discussion?
Madam Mayor, can I speak on it now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I know that Harper Woods, of course, has itself in its situation where we need more firefighters. And, you know, we have cross-trained officers, as does the Woods, as does the Shores. The Shores and Grosse Pointe and St. Clair Shores have a good relationship that crosses county lines. I know that the Grosse Pointes have had issues, houses burning down, you know, so I know that we're all in need, and it seems to me that if we create a fire authority with our nearby communities, we'd be able to get a lot more service all together, you know, and so I would like to see, rather than depending on one community like Detroit, and I have my reservations only because of all of the news that have come out about failed fire hydrants and issues with, you know, et cetera, that there are issues there. But I would like to be able to explore all of these communities. And tonight, when Mr. Melnick spoke with us and suggested that there might be solutions that the union could offer, I think that it behooves us to find out the best thing for our community, because that's why we're here. We're here for our community.
Exactly.
Right.
The best for our community.
And Mayor, I have some comments I want to add. This community,
Wait just down. Don't get excited.
No, I'm not, this community is taxed to death
Yes.
right now. We're at 100 mills. Make no bones about it. If you have a fire authority on top, those are mills that are going to get added onto the top. We are looking at lowering taxes in this community. We are looking at getting and guaranteeing a better ISO rating. People ask, what is an ISO rating? This is a standard that's used by the state in determining fire insurance rates for residents and for businesses. Currently, the city of Harper Woods is at a 5. What does a 5 mean? A 5 means you're not good, you're not bad. You're doing the best that you can. Detroit has promised to get it down to a 2, which is excellent. The larger the number, the worse your firefighters and departments are. We would not go into this with any layoffs for existing firefighters and no cuts in pay. Nobody gets hurt. I am talking, please. No cuts in pay. We are not going to lay off police officers to hire more firefighters. If we have to equip and hire, that's millions of dollars. We are up to our charter max at Public Act 33 and our operating mills. There is no magic wand here. This comes down to doing the right thing. The cities of Melvindale and Dearborn have done the same thing we're attempting to do. And again, the sky was falling, people were going to die. These were all comments that were bantered about, and they have had great success. I will pursue this, not a problem, but I'm not going to increase taxes, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not laying off police, period. If you want somebody to do that, you put somebody right here.
You will be removed if you yell out again.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't think that I have eliminated the idea of the city of Detroit, but I do want to hear about the other communities near us as well.
And that's fair.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any other further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes. A little time ago, there was a study done. We did the Winborn report, and one of the major things that came out of it is that we just do not have enough personnel on our fire department to effectively or sufficiently support the city. If it's 6 personnel is what we have, so that's 2 per shift, they're running 24-hour shifts. So an option was to hire more firefighters, which the city has tried, but it's just, it doesn't happen. Looking at that we have over 15,000 citizens in Harper Woods, we gotta have something in place so that if, as Mr. Melnick said, if something happened, you don't wanna just have that one fire personnel on staff. So something has to change, because we don't have enough. Something have to give. We're not asking to just eliminate the Detroit option, but we are asking to look at other options too, because other options was brought forward from our fire department, and we understand that. So, we're trying to do the best for our citizens, but 6 personnel on our fire department is not sufficient. Something must change, because if there's a serious emergency, it's you or me or our family members who have to pay for that.
Madam,
Yes.
I'm concerned about what I heard about it too. I definitely don't want anything to happen to our fire. I definitely don't want anything to happen to our fire department. I don't want anything to happen to your jobs and your positions and things like that. But we're really struggling here with our, and financing all of this quite a bit. And most of our equipment is almost junk. You know, we're almost going to need a new fire truck. We're going to need a whole bunch of other things, and all that's going to be required is more taxes and more taxes. And that's just not a solution anymore. It's got to change. So, I'm very interested in hearing what Detroit has to offer. Just the idea of them saying it'll break it down to a 2, I think that's fantastic. And I think we run more efficient, and we'll get new equipment in here, and we'll get new facilities. It's just, I'm dying to hear what Detroit has to have. Sounds better than anything else any of the other communities offer.
All right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So I'm listening to you, and I got your email, and you want us to explore East Point and St. Clair Shores, other directions. We're agreeing to that. But I don't see where a discussion with Detroit, and I'm listening to you, but we have to go into discussions with multiple communities to find out what's the best for our 15,500 residents. We don't want to lose you guys. We're here to support you. So we're not voting on anything to eliminate anybody. All we're voting today is to move forward with discussions with other departments. And that was one of the things that you wanted. So I can't eliminate Detroit, but I can ask, as Vivian did, let's explore some other options. And I hope that our union, your union, Detroit's union, our city administrators can all work together to come to a solution to keep our residents safe.
Bottom line. All right, is there anyone else want to discuss?
Mayor, I think it's the best of both worlds, just going out and everyone else. Let's see what's out there.
Okay. All right. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
All right.
Okay, item G4, progress payment, Beaconsfield resurfacing. Mayor and Council attaches a memorandum from the Director of Public Works transmitting an invoice from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the city's portion of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project Phase 2. As you recall, this MDOT project required a match from the city, and this invoice represents a portion of that cost. I have reviewed this and recommend that this invoice be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make the resolution to approve the payment to the Michigan Department of Transportation in the amount of $110,532.83 for the city's proportionate share of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project Phase 2.
Support.
Any discussion?
Hi, Madam Mayor. I did
Yes.
see them out this week paving away.
Yes.
So right before school, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. All right. A roll call, Ms. Frank?
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, progress payment number 1, Beaconsfield water main replacement number 180-266. Mayor and Council attaches a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the Beaconsfield water main replacement number 180-266. This project was to replace 2 8-inch water mains that cross under Beaconsfield. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor? Yes? For whom?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll offer the resolution to approve payment to Fontana Construction Incorporated in the amount of $162,699.46 for progress payment number 1 on the Beaconsfield water main replacement project number 180-266.
Support.
All right, any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
This would be a great thing since it's a new road, and it'll also help water quality and fire protection.
All righty. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, progress payment number 2, final 2022 pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-286. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 2, final, on the 2022 pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-282. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. By resolution, approve payment to Michigan Joint Sealing Incorporated in the amount of $3,000 for progress payment number 2, final, on the 2022 pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-282.
Support.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I noticed a great deal of pavement cracking and pavement issues on southbound Harper or westbound Harper rather, by the Kroger store. Do we know what is going to be happening there? I mean, I know that's
That's
a
MDOT.
county, is that a county road? Do we know or have
State
any
road.
insight from MDOT about repairing that roadway?
We can certainly inquire on that, yeah.
It's just getting worse.
Yeah.
Can I comment? You talked about Councilwoman Zwicky. Are you speaking of right there at Bernier and Harper?
Yeah.
That turn, that gets destroyed every other year. And fortunately, what was the previous guy, Parks and Recs, he would just go and patch it up for us every year. He said it was kind of tough because the traffic didn't want to support it. But that's not, that is a city thing. Instead of waiting on, a county thing, instead of waiting on a county road, we went ahead and fixed it a couple times. So I don't know if we're going to still do that or let it be.
I would like to push them on it.
Well, actually, MDOT has switched over from Wayne County supporting our road repairs to giving it to another entity, and we are having the Dickens to even get the grass cut.
Yeah. Well, I just know that the road is cracking up worse and worse every time I go over it. So thank you.
Let our legislators know. All right. John?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
It's
gotta
roll
take a
call
vote.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, second reading and adoption, ordinance number 2023-03, an ordinance amending the refuse collection ordinance. Mayor and Council, attached is ordinance number 2023-03, amending the refuse collection ordinance. The publication requirements for this ordinance have been met. It is recommended that this ordinance be adopted. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make the resolution placed for second reading and adoption ordinance number 2023-03 entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 9, Section 9-5, Pre-Collection Regulations of the City of Harper Woods Code of Ordinances, and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this in accordance with the city charter requirements.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
There are two, I wasn't here for the first reading, and there are two items that I should have brought up to the city attorney, but I want to point them out now. And they appear on my page 113, which is section 9.5, number 6 and number 9. Under number 6, it says curbside leaf pickup, and it says leaves right to the street side of the curb will be collected from mid-October through the week of Thanksgiving. I think we should stipulate on the day of regular trash collection. We have that mentioned under trimmings and clippings, but we don't have it mentioned under the leaf pickup, and I think that it would be important to have it there.
I don't know if that's appropriate. I have
Right.
to speak to DPW if that happens,
Right.
or if it happens on another date.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's not.
it may happen on another date. This was actually when Bill Snyder was still here.
Where is Heather?
He worked on this, and then I worked on it with Heather, but
Right.
this is DPW's call, not mine.
Right. Because they may have a short day and they can't do it all on
Or they may have
somebody's
a
pickup
designated day.
So if we put it in writing saying that,
I
then
don't
you
know.
say, you didn't do it on that day. So
She's
we
absolutely
leave it
correct.
Thank
That is
you.
why we didn't specify on your trash day.
Okay.
Some days they're here till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night and they're still on a route from Monday.
Okay.
So we don't want to tell people that we will be there definitely on Monday. It has to do with labor, equipment, and the heaviness of the setouts of the leaves to the curb.
Then, while you're still here, Heather, the other one was number 9, under non-containable refuse special collection. All I wanted to make the suggestion of was, it says, ordinance may have such items picked up after arrangements have been made with the superintendent. I thought it would be helpful to put the Department of Public Works superintendent, let them know which superintendent they should be speaking to. Can we just make that just a little clearer? DPW
Yeah.
superintendent?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. That's the only
We
thing.
made with the superintendent, DPW.
Everything else just comports with.
All right. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like seeing, one of the things I really like on this too is the fact that we have people, we know, all these containers cannot be seen from the street. Sometimes just it surprises me how often people like to sort of decorate their houses with their trash cans and stuff around their side yards and in their front. So I'm really glad we got this ordinance to really encourage people to keep those things out of sight. It does make your neighborhood so much better when you don't have trash cans sitting out on the front on the side of your house all during the week.
And another thing, Heather, can you speak on about the bags and cardboard boxes and?
Well, it does say in here that, that your refuse needs to be bagged. We also do put in the newsletter and the calendar that boxes are not considered trash receptacles. You
Right.
can't put out a box of garbage. It has to be bagged.
Thank you. Are there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank? Thank you, Heather.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, intergovernmental agreement, Wayne County Park Grant, Mayor and Council. Attached is an agreement between Wayne County and the city to fund improvements to Salter, Danbury, and Johnston Parks as requested by the Recreation Director. Attached is a breakdown of the improvements for each park, which includes upgrades to the playground equipment, minor repairs to the fencing and restrooms at Salter Park, and mulch for the playgrounds at all 3 parks. The grant total is $42,130. It is recommended that this agreement be accepted. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
by resolution to accept the Wayne County Parks Millage Fund grant in the amount of $42,130 for improvements at Denbury Park, Johnston Park, and Salter Park, and further to authorize the mayor to sign the intergovernmental agreement between the County of Wayne and the City of Harper Woods.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited about hearing about this funding and the improvements that have been made in the improvements that have been made in the parks have been just incredible. If you have had a chance to go to any of the parks, I'm just hoping that this funding, they moved on Danbury Lane, which I live. They did some changes to that park. They moved our park equipment and tore down some dead trees, but now all of our benches are sitting out in the sun. So it just kind of makes it a little tough. Well, we got some temporary solutions, so I'm hoping that some of this funding will be used to maybe build up a small pavilion in the Danbury Lane Park.
All right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
On page 119 of the agreement, it indicates $42,013. And I think we transposed the numbers in the resolution to 42,130 instead of 13. And I know that the city would be good for the, few dollars more. But I did want to mention that the documents indicate that the county's grant is for $42,013.
We'll look at that and make the correction.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Are there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor, may I ask one question? In addition, and I'm trying to find the page, where it describes the things that are going into the park, which sound just fabulous. But I'm curious what the message center is. We have a message center going on 2 parks, I believe, or maybe on all 3 parks. Yes, on all 3 parks, and I'm curious what that is.
Just announcing what activities, are going,
So
just a little board.
Okay, will it be
Yeah.
like a...
I don't know the specific details, but that's what it is. That's what it's going to be.
A message board,
Yes.
so people can be up on top of things
Yes.
that are going on.
Correct.
That's kind of fun.
So
All
it'll be
right, thank you.
Madam Mayor, so it will be electronic billboard is what you're thinking?
No.
No?
We're not quite that fancy, okay? All right. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G9, first right of refusal, tax foreclosed properties. Mayor and council attaches a memorandum from the Economic and Community Development Director requesting approval to purchase 3 tax foreclosed properties from Wayne County, exercising our first right of refusal. As his memo states, these will be purchased for a minimum bid of $40,710.90, and that currently there are 2 investors that are interested in buying these properties. I have reviewed this with him, and it is my recommendation the city accept the properties. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to authorize the acting city manager to accept the 2023 first right of refusal on 3 residential tax foreclosed properties in an amount not to exceed $40,710.90, and to further authorize him to sign any necessary documents pertaining to the sales.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I had just a couple of questions. So we are purchasing 3 properties from Wayne County from the tax foreclosure to sell to an investor so they can resell it to someone else. So I was wondering, what was the purpose of that? Couldn't the investor just buy those properties?
Well, right now, they're tax foreclosed. There's nobody in the properties. They're vacant. We have done this in the past where we turn them over to the investors. The investors put money in, they rehab, they find buyers, and they put them back on the tax rolls.
Okay, and then I had one more question. On page... Oh, okay. It says the request for purchase had to be done, had to be received no later than July 21st, 2023. But this is August 14th. So
We had a special provision granted to us because of the summer hours of the city council to where Wayne County's Treasury Department has held this open just so that we could conduct the meeting and just so that they could close the books. Where if council passes this, we're going to have the check ready tomorrow and hand delivered to the treasurer's office.
Madam Mayor?
Jerry.
Do we do we sell these to these investors for a profit? And do we control what these investors do with these homes?
Right.
Do we have a moratorium on making them all rentals?
Okay, what happens is we cannot make a profit on these houses, but what we do is we make sure that the summer taxes are paid, any special invoices for grass cutting, any water bills that are attached to these homes are paid in advance from the investors. And again, the investors rehab the houses, they sell them, and put them back on the tax rolls for the city, and we assess taxes.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Two things. I know that first right of refusal is pretty powerful in terms of getting a good deal on these houses, that, you know, if we turn them down, then they go to auction by the county. And so this is the easiest, cheapest way of getting them back into circulation. But I think that Councilwoman LaPratte brings up a good point. Can we require the purchaser or the rehab person to sell it rather than use it as a rental?
Right.
Because we all know that, you know, rentals are not the way to go.
I don't think we have that kind of latitude.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure if we do, Ty?
Ty, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you don't use your bedroom voice, Ty. Okay?
Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. These investors have promised me that they will do their level best to make sure that these properties are sold. And I think given the properties that we are selling to them, they stand a chance of all being sold. With perhaps one exception, one Kingsville, but we will certainly trust. We bought the properties at the hands of homeowners, not renters.
Right. Thank you.
Are there any further discussions? Thank you, Ty. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G10, Detroit Area Agency on Aging, Annual Implementation Plan. Mayor and Council, annually, the Detroit Area Agency on Aging, DAAA, that services the city of Harper Woods, requests review and approval of their implementation plan. This plan outlines their services that will be provided to the participating communities serviced by the DAAA. I have reviewed the plan and compared it with past year's plans and believe it adequately considers the needs of the seniors in our area. In the approval process, we can make requests for revisions or disapprove of the plan. The plan itself is quite lengthy. If you are interested in a copy, please let me know. The local focal point that services the city of Harper Woods is the Helm, who have been quite successful in servicing seniors in our area. It is my recommendation that this plan be received and approved as presented. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to acknowledge receipt of and approve the Detroit Area Agency on Aging Annual Implementation Plan for fiscal year 2023.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G11, Milk River Operation and Maintenance. Mayor and Council, attached is an invoice from the Wayne County for operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024. This is in accordance with the budget amounts set by the Drainage District. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
When I get to it, I'll make a resolution. I gotta get to it. It's a long
Page
thing we got.
165.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. Here I go. A resolution to approve payment to Wayne County in the amount of $356,130.75 for the operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024.
Support.
All right, any
Reluctantly,
discussion?
but support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I know without it, even in that last storm we had 3 weeks ago, I do know that Milk River did dump to the lake in that extreme event. So it as much as it's horrible to pay it, it saves us. It between us and Grosse Pointe Woods, it's our lifeline for basements, not being retention basements. So.
Right. Right. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G12, Michigan Municipal League Annual Convention. Mayor and Council, we have received the attached notice of the League's annual convention to be held in Traverse City, October 18th through 20th, 2023. It is customary for the City Council to authorize attendance by interested members. If there are any of you who wish to attend, please let the clerk's office know as soon as possible so that we can register you. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor?
Yes?
By resolution, authorize those council members interested to attend the Michigan Municipal League's annual convention, October 18th through 2023, with the city paying all necessary and related expenses.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G13, designation of voting delegates, Michigan Municipal League. Mayor and Council, the Michigan Municipal League will be holding their annual meeting during the October 2023 convention, and it is customary to designate one of our officials as a representative to cast votes on the city's behalf for trustees, policies, and other business matters. It is also customary that the mayor be the designee and the mayor pro tem be the alternate. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
By motion to designate Mayor Kendall as the city's official delegate and Mayor Pro Tem
It's wrong.
Sorry.
Sawicki as the alternate delegate at the Michigan Municipal League's annual meeting to be held during the October 18th through 20th, 2023 convention, unless another member of City Council is interested and plans to attend.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor and Council, that concludes the city manager's reports.
All right. Okay, we are now at call to audience. If you have not spoken earlier.
No.
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 All right,
Start
anyone get 3 minutes. Identify yourself and come to the podium.
Hi, Council. There is a lot of activity going on in Beaconsfield. There's no cops, speeders. When Beaconsfield opens up, they go down 50 miles an hour. We have little kids on our street. Somebody's gonna take a kid, get hit or killed. You can't hear me? I'm sorry. I live on Beaconsfield. There's a lot of kids that stay. When Beaconsfield opens up, they go 50 miles an hour. So when you get these factories up and going, that's gonna be a freeway for Harper Woods. So I hope you guys have the cops there to be able to put the money back into our community like you used to. Because when I was little, they would all be up there, even teenager, they were pulling people over left and right. And the activity, you know what type of activity I'm talking about. I moved from Detroit when I was 5 because of that. My father moved us here to Harper Woods to better ourselves. It's not any better now. It's the same thing that I seen when I was 5 years old. Prostitution, drugs. everything. We need cops from Roscommon to Kingsville instead of the rich part of Harper Woods. And the houses that you have selling in Harper Woods, both on my corner, one's going for $150,000, one's going for $155,000. I would never pay for a house by my community that much money. You would only be able to get $50,000 by where we live. That's all I gotta say. Take care of us, take care of our kids.
Hey, Ms. Solak, did you wish to speak? Okay.
Good evening, Council. Matt Czar, President, Michigan Professional Firefighters Union. I'm here to speak in regards to the agenda item about the outsourcing of your fire service to the city of Detroit. Obviously, that agenda item was changed, and we support that. We always like to see that you guys are going to go and work with more than one angle. But we have major concerns. Number one, we all heard here, and I believe it'll be on tape, from the city manager stating all the answers to the questions. He said he was promised from the city of Detroit about an ISO rating. He talked about a better service. If this is exploratory, why does he already have all of these answers? I believe he works at the pleasure of this city council, not on his own.
Thank you.
And if he is doing these things without your direction, that seems to be a problem. Because this seems like this was already negotiated. And he let that out for the tapes to tell. So I encourage you guys to do your due diligence and come back with a scenario that'll show hopefully a cost savings or a better fire service for your community. And we support that. And the last thing that I would just like to mention is we just heard this young lady again speak to, wanting more police service. We heard the city manager very passionately say he's never going to lay off a police officer. He said that tapes will tell. And he talked about the service here and how it needs to be better and we're taxed out. Well, if that is the truth, why aren't we also talking about the outsourcing of outsourcing to the DPD and the Wayne County Sheriff? Where's that study? Where's that resolution? Because if there's a cost savings there for potentially going to Detroit or a better service and an ISO rating, I assure you that there must be the same there for Detroit Police and Wayne County Sheriff. Where is that study? Thank you.
Follow-up question. I didn't quite understand what your vote was on the public hearing for the amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Can't hear you.
And what's your name?
Scott Dornbrock. I didn't understand what you guys had decided on the public hearing of the amendment to the zoning ordinance. What was your decision on that?
It failed because we did not vote on it.
You didn't
You're
hear
talking
us?
about the buffer?
Yeah.
Right. We did not take it up, and so we did not vote on it, and so it remains as it originally was written. We did not change anything.
So nothing's getting changed?
Nothing's changed.
So what happens on the 23rd?
Wait a minute, we don't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If there's any legal thing, we should always direct it to Sharon.
And the question should always be directed to the mayor. Yes.
All right.
She chairs the meeting.
Thank you.
So we're good? So nothing's changing with the bufferings? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
This is public comment, not question and answers. That's why you're not.
No, I
getting
just didn't understand what had happened earlier. That's why I'm asking.
The motion failed, or the resolution failed.
Okay.
Nothing has changed.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Mr. Kadat.
Mike Cadet, Lockwood Street. Just a couple of quick things. The grass on Vernier, how is it that we cannot get that cut and Grosse Pointe Woods has theirs cut? Is Grosse Pointe taken over from Wayne County, and do they have some kind of arrangement with Wayne County on grass cutting? And if so, could we have the same kind of arrangement?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay, Grosse Pointe maintains that boulevard themselves. Okay, Vernier is maintained, the whole Vernier stretch is part of Michigan Department of Transportation. Up until last year, Wayne County was doing the lawn cuttings. Now it's Macomb County that's doing the lawn cuttings. And they only give you so many cuts per year. So we're on the phone all the time with them. I want to say Heather's been calling them every day. Again, you know, only thing we could do here is complain. We don't control that.
Well, is there any way we could take over the cutting of that? And
If they gave us the money,
yes.
we would gladly take control of that. I highly doubt that that's going to happen. But to answer your question, if we had the money, absolutely, it would be looking like the boulevard that's in Grosse Pointe.
The second item is involves a kind of a legal thing. Notice is being posted on residences' doors about painting addresses on the curbs. It seems that these outsiders, I don't know, mainly individuals, try to make a quick buck by coming along and saying, we will paint your address on your curb for, well, last time it was $15. So what gives them the authority to take city property, which is the curb, owned and operated by the city, to just come in without any authority from the city and start painting house numbers on curbs? Now, I called the city about this, and they said it's perfectly legal. They can come in and paint whatever they want, and the residents can do it themselves if they want. Well, this seems to be a little bit, I question the legality of this, and I question the legality of the City Hall's opinion on this. Maybe the city attorney can address this. But if this is going to be the case, maybe I go and paint my curb red, and maybe I'll put a slogan on there or some advertisement. So I don't see how people can just go ahead and come and do things to city property without authorization or license from the city. And not only that, there are some merits to doing this, but what generally happens is after a year or two with the slush and the salt on the street, the paint deteriorates and it looks bad. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cadet. All right, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Seeing none. City Council, starting with you, Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a couple of comments to make. One was just a question. When school is about to start, so when is the Beaconsfield going to be completed? Will it be completed before school start?
That's the plan, to have it done by the end of the month. But again, a lot of the work is contingent on rain. But a majority of the road has been paved. But like anything else, I want to say if there's open cement cuts, they have to let the ground dry first before they pour the cement. And end of the month, we're looking at wrapping the whole thing up if we don't have any rainstorms, you know, in between.
And two more things. The grant to rehab the parks. I don't know how many of you have been to the parks lately, either Salter or Johnston or Danbury, but there's been a lot of great things that's different about those parks. Salter has a great little walking path, and they have little spots for children to play and little designs of things they could do on the ground. Johnston's a really nice park. It has the trees, and the courts are really nice. So if you haven't had an opportunity to walk through one of our 3 parks, please do so, because these parks are here for you. They're for the community. I like to walk and exercise on the parks, so I'm really looking forward to the improvements. Anything else that can be done is great. And the last thing was, I was really listening when residents from Country Club, Lockmore, and Anita complained about the traffic, walking traffic that might be coming through with the new marijuana stores. So it might be something that for the council to look into. to do something about that block to decrease to diminish the traffic, the walking traffic that might be coming through. It might be something for us to take a look at and see if there's something that we can do about that. That's it.
All right. Councilman LaPratt.
We are listening. I am listening. And I suggest everyone, maybe some people are missing when we're having meetings, when the cannabis committee met, when city council met. And if you check the website and it says where all these meetings are and what the agendas are, because we want to hear from you. Tonight is the first night we had this many residents that came to us and told us what you wanted. So we are listening. And like Councilwoman Williams said, let's look at making there be less traffic, make things safer for the community with these buildings. Then I want to touch on some good things that are happening in the city. If you went to National Night Out, it was a wonderful evening with a band, and our police and fire were there, and the NEDC was serving hot dogs, and the community came together. Then the next weekend we had our Lost in the Woods Festival, which I estimate was attended by 1,000 people. It was a wonderful thing. There was zoology was there with animals for the kids, all kinds of artists, bands were playing. It was a wonderful community event. So we are trying to do things to bring our community together. Everything isn't to divide everybody. I want everybody to come together. Let's work on plans to make this a safer, better community. And I am listening to you, Mr. Melnick.
Yeah, I think I'll jump on that. I mean, you guys, thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you so much. This has been the best attended council meeting in a very long time, and well be it. I mean, there was some hot topics, so, but we do listen. We do hear, and we're homeowners too. You know, we live here too, so we're not just sitting up here yes and no into everything. So we do listen to you guys, and thank you for coming out tonight.
I don't think I need to echo the same thing, but I think we all feel the same way, that it's good to hear from residents, because it's not our community, it's all of our community, and we have to work together to make it the best we can. I do also want to thank those of you who offered me their words of sympathy on the passing of my mother. Sorry. But I also want to echo what Mrs. LaPratt said about the night out, Art in the Park. There are other community events that we're looking forward to. And so please take part in those events, because that's what makes us our unique community, our small town feel right here in Harper Woods. So thank you.
I didn't get a chance to attend the National Night Out. I was out of town, but I did get a chance to go to the art fair briefly. I forgot I was having a function in my own home. It looked like it was going to be a truck. Just a fantastic thing. From the pictures I saw on Facebook, it looks like just more activities there than we've ever had. So I was quite pleased with that. I wish I could have stayed longer. Also, I want to remind everybody that we have pickleball in Harper Woods at Johnston Parks, really redone and really nicely, Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 and 1 o'clock. And I can see some of our pickleball players right in here. Also, I want to comment also on the marijuana. Believe me, the Cannabis Committee, we really tried to do the best we could in getting this completely right. Some things I was a little surprised to hear that people thought we designated Anita. No, that's not at all. No chances of that being on Anita. No. And the only reason in 8 Mile, we had looked into it, but it was schools and stuff all up and down. There was really no space where they could have fit one in. And people think that 8 Mile, all 8 Mile is Harper Woods. It's not. The other side of it is East Point. So we looked into that, we looked into it quite a bit, and those are the only 2 commercial areas that were still left available. And people kept asking about 8 Mile and Vernia. Then you got North Point, you got that whole side over there. So it was really limited. But we've looked into it pretty thoroughly, and believe me, just because we got 8 applications doesn't mean we're going to have 8 stores. By the time we determine the parking things and what they show us and their plans and all that, I don't think it's going to add up to 8. By no way, no possible way. So we don't want a whole bunch of it in here also. So anyway, those are my thoughts on it.
All right. I don't have a flyer up here. Jerry, do you have a flyer for the town hall?
They're at the back of the,
Yeah,
that
here.
other room. I thought you
Oh,
would mention.
yeah. Right here. The town hall that we're, get them from every which way now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. We're having a proposed new community center town hall meeting on Wednesday, August the 16th from 5:30. It says 9, but it's, is it 5:30 to 6?
5:30 to
5:30 to 8. I don't have my glasses on, you guys. And you got the
7:30.
screen. But anyway,
7:30.
it's 5:30 to 8.
7:30.
7:30 is closing remarks.
Okay, 7:30 closing remarks. All right, so,
Is that here at City Hall?
no, it's going to be where?
Salter Park.
It's going to be at Salter Park. So come out and enjoy the beautiful park and
Get a hot dog.
get a hot dog, potato chips, light refreshments. Anyway, that's on Wednesday from 5:30 to 7:30. It's 5:30 to 8. And hopefully we have the kind of attendance we had today, and you get to see how we have beautified the parks, and get to have the input on a community center, which will be in Salter Park. And because we do not have a community center where we all can meet, and so this is a proposal, and hopefully we can bring it to fruition. Also, we have, no, I forgot. I've had a senior moment. I'm sorry. I've had a senior moment. Okay. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and have a good night.
Madam Mayor? Madam Mayor?
Mr. Jean,
I'd like to make the motion
yes.
for adjournment.
Support.
You know it's past my bedtime, guys. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, you can stay here.